The mahogany-paneled office of Jeremiah Goldstein, New York's most prestigious notary, buzzed with anticipation. Howard Parker, CEO of Parker Enterprises and one of the city's wealthiest men, drummed his fingers impatiently on the antique desk. "Is everything in order, Jeremiah?" Howard asked, his voice tinged with both excitement and nervousness. Jeremiah adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses, peering at the documents before him. "Indeed, Mr. Parker. Once you sign these papers, your daughter Olivia will officially own 25% of Parker Enterprises." Howard let out a low whistle. "That's quite a graduation gift, isn't it?" "Some might say so," Jeremiah replied with a wry smile. "But then again, not every father can boast a daughter graduating summa cum laude from Harvard Business School." As if on cue, the office door burst open and in whirled Olivia Parker, a vision in Chanel and Jimmy Choo's. At 24, she was the perfect blend of her father's business acumen and her mother's Grace Kelly looks. "Daddy, I got here as fast as I could. Traffic was a nightmare." She planted a kiss on her father's cheek, leaving a perfect red lipstick print. Howard beamed at his daughter. "Ready for your graduation present, princess?" Olivia's eyes sparkled. "Is it a trip to Paris? A new car? Oh, is it that penthouse on Fifth Avenue?" Howard chuckled, sharing an amused glance with Jeremiah. "Even better, sweetheart. How would you like to own a quarter of Parker Enterprises?" For a moment, Olivia was speechless, a rarity for the usually loquacious heiress. Then she let out a squeal that nearly shattered the office windows. "Oh my God, Daddy! Are you serious? This is amazing." She threw her arms around Howard, nearly knocking him off his feet. As Olivia signed the papers with a flourish, Howard couldn't help but feel a swell of pride. His little girl, all grown up and ready to take on the business world. But Olivia had one more surprise up her designer sleeve. "Daddy," she said, her tone suddenly serious, "I have a favor to ask." Howard raised an eyebrow. "Anything, princess. You name it." Olivia took a deep breath. "Before I take on my official role, I want to work undercover in the company, as a cleaner." The silence that followed was deafening. Howard and Jeremiah exchanged shocked glances. "A cleaner?" Howard finally managed to sputter. "But why on earth would you want to do that?" Olivia's eyes shone with determination. "I want to see the company from the ground up, to understand how it really works, not just what people show the boss's daughter." "Please, Daddy, it's important to me." Howard studied his daughter's face, seeing not just the beautiful young woman she'd become, but echoes of the stubborn little girl who'd insisted on building her own treehouse at age 8. Finally, he nodded. "All right, Olivia, if that's what you really want, but promise me you'll be careful. The business world can be cutthroat." Olivia grinned, hugging her father tightly. "I promise, Daddy, you won't regret this." As they left the notary's office, neither Howard nor Olivia could have imagined just how this undercover adventure would change their lives and Parker Enterprises forever. The Parker mansion in the Hamptons was abuzz with activity. In Olivia's sprawling bedroom suite, a transformation was underway. "Olivia, darling, are you sure about this?" Patricia Parker's voice was strained as she watched her daughter hack away at her long golden locks. Olivia met her mother's eyes in the mirror, scissors poised mid-snip. "Absolutely, Mom. If I'm going to pull this off, I need to look the part." Patricia sighed, fingering a discarded lock of hair. "But your beautiful hair? It took years to grow." "It'll grow back," Olivia said firmly, making another decisive cut. "What's more important is that no one at Parker Enterprises recognizes me." As Olivia continued her makeover, Howard entered the room, stopping short at the sight of his daughter. "Good Lord," he muttered. "I hardly recognize you already." Olivia grinned, turning to face her father. Her once flowing hair now barely brushed her shoulders in a messy bob. She'd scrubbed off every trace of makeup, revealing a smattering of freckles across her nose. "That's the idea, Daddy," she said. "But I'm not done yet." Over the next hour, Howard and Patricia watched in fascinated horror as their glamorous daughter transformed herself into a plain Jane. She donned a baggy t-shirt and ill-fitting jeans from a thrift store, replaced her contact lenses with thick-rimmed glasses, and even applied a temporary tattoo of a butterfly on her wrist. "Well," Olivia asked, spinning around, "what do you think?" Howard cleared his throat. "It's quite a change, sweetheart, but I'm not sure it's enough. Our cleaning staff don't dress quite so casually." Olivia's face fell. "Really? But I thought this looked pretty average." Patricia stepped in, her socialite instincts kicking in despite her shock. "Darling, even our staff have standards. They usually wear neat, simple clothes. Nothing fancy, but certainly not this." Olivia chewed her lip, considering. "I guess I don't really know how normal people dress, do I?" Howard chuckled. "Tell you what, princess, why don't you spend tomorrow observing people at the subway station? That should give you a better idea." Olivia's eyes lit up. "The subway? I've always wanted to ride the subway." Her parents exchanged amused glances. This undercover operation was going to be more educational than any of them had anticipated. The next day, Olivia spent hours people watching near the subway, taking mental notes on how the average New Yorker dressed and behaved. Armed with this new knowledge, she went on another shopping spree, this time at Target and Old Navy instead of Bergdorf's and Saks. When she unveiled her new look to her parents, even Howard had to admit she'd nailed it. In her simple blouse, sensible slacks, and low-heeled shoes, Olivia looked every inch the hard-working cleaner. "I have to hand it to you, sweetheart," Howard said, a mix of pride and worry in his voice. "You're really committed to this," Olivia beamed. "Thanks, Daddy, I won't let you down. I'm going to learn everything there is to know about how Parker Enterprises really works." As she hugged her parents goodnight, Olivia felt a thrill of excitement. Tomorrow, her adventure would begin. Little did she know, it would be far more challenging and rewarding than she ever could have imagined. The elevator doors slid open on the 20th floor of Parker Enterprises, and Olivia stepped out, her heart pounding. She'd entered through the service entrance, been given a quick tour by a harried HR rep, and now found herself clutching a mop and bucket, ready to start her first day as a cleaner. "Remember," she muttered to herself, "you're olive green now, just a normal girl trying to make ends meet." As she began mopping the hallway, Olivia, now Olive, couldn't help but marvel at how different the office looked from this perspective. She'd visited her father here countless times, but had never noticed the scuff marks on the baseboards or the coffee stains on the carpet. Her musings were interrupted by the click of heels on tile. Two women in sharp business suits rounded the corner, deep in conversation. "I'm telling you, Vanessa, if old man Parker doesn't give me that promotion soon, I'm gonna have to take drastic measures," the blonde was saying. "Like what, Brittany? Seduce him?" Vanessa laughed. Brittany tossed her hair. "Don't be ridiculous. I was thinking more along the lines of, oh, watch out. Too late." Brittany's designer heel caught in Olivia's mop bucket, sending soapy water cascading across the floor. "You idiot," Brittany shrieked. "Look what you've done to my Louboutins." Olivia scrambled to soak up the water. "I'm so sorry, ma'am. It was an accident." Vanessa sneered down at her. "Maybe if you were paying attention to your job instead of eavesdropping, this wouldn't have happened." "I wasn't," Olivia began, but Brittany cut her off. "Save it. Just clean up this mess before someone important sees it." As the women stalked off, Olivia felt a hot flush of anger and humiliation. Is this how the cleaning staff were always treated? The rest of the morning didn't improve. Olivia endured snide comments, dismissive glances, and even a deliberately spilled coffee from Garrett in accounting. By lunchtime, she was ready to throw in the towel, literally. As she slumped against the wall in the supply closet, fighting back tears, the door opened. Olivia hastily wiped her eyes, expecting another barrage of insults. Instead, a kind voice said, "Hey, are you okay?" Olivia looked up to see a man in his late 20s, with warm brown eyes and a concerned expression. She recognized him as Nathan Brooks, the acting commercial director. "I'm fine," she mumbled, avoiding his gaze. Nathan crouched down beside her. "First day?" When Olivia nodded, he continued, "Don't let them get to you. Some people here can be real jerks, but they're not all bad." Olivia managed a weak smile. "Thanks, I'm Olive." "Nathan," he replied, holding out his hand. "Listen, Olive, if anyone gives you a hard time, you come find me, okay? This company has a zero-tolerance policy for harassment." As Nathan left, Olivia felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe this undercover mission wouldn't be a total disaster after all. Over the next few weeks, Olivia settled into her role as Olive the cleaner. She developed a routine, learned the quickest ways to polish the endless expanses of glass and chrome, and became an expert at fading into the background. It was in this invisible role that Olivia began to uncover the true nature of Parker Enterprises' office politics. One Wednesday afternoon, she was emptying trash cans in the executive suite when she overheard a conversation that made her blood run cold. "I'm telling you, Gary, old Parker's ripe for the picking." Brittany's voice drifted from her office. "I've been laying the groundwork for months. A few more strategically unbuttoned blouses and that corner office is as good as mine." Gary's deep chuckle followed. "And what about the wife? Please," Brittany scoffed. "Patricia Parker is too busy with her charity luncheons to notice her husband's wandering eye. Besides, once I'm in that position of power, I'll be able to push through those budget cuts we've been discussing. Imagine the commission we'll make on those offshore accounts." Olivia's hands shook as she pushed her cleaning cart past the office. Her own mother, dismissed so casually. And offshore accounts? That sounded suspiciously like embezzlement. But Brittany's scheming was just the tip of the iceberg. Over the next few days, Olivia uncovered a web of deceit, backstabbing, and corporate espionage that made her head spin. There was Garrett from accounting, who she overheard in the smoking area, bragging about the kickbacks he was receiving from suppliers, and Vanessa from HR, who was systematically blocking the promotions of anyone she saw as a threat. Even the seemingly innocuous chatter in the break room revealed a cutthroat environment, where alliances shifted daily and no one was to be trusted. Through it all, Nathan remained a beacon of integrity. Olivia often saw him mediating disputes, mentoring junior staff, and steadfastly refusing to engage in office gossip. One afternoon, as Olivia was mopping the floor near Nathan's office, she overheard him on the phone. "Look, I don't care what kind of bonus they're offering," Nathan was saying firmly. "We are not cutting corners on worker safety to boost profits. That's final." As he hung up, Nathan noticed Olivia and gave her a tired smile. "Rough day?" he asked. Olivia nodded, forgetting for a moment that she was supposed to be invisible. "Does it ever get easier? Dealing with all the politics?" Nathan's eyes widened slightly at her insight, but he answered honestly, "Not really, but you learn to navigate it. The key is to never compromise your values. Once you do that, you've lost." As Olivia pushed her mop down the hallway, she felt a warmth in her chest that had nothing to do with physical exertion. In a sea of sharks, Nathan was a lifeboat of decency. But even as she admired Nathan's integrity, Olivia couldn't shake a growing sense of disillusionment. Was this really the company her father had built? A place where greed and self-interest reigned supreme? She was so lost in thought that she almost missed the conversation happening in the copy room. "I'm telling you, Mike, this info is gold," Garrett was saying in a low voice. "Parker Enterprises' new product line straight from R&D, Axiom Corp, is willing to pay big bucks for this." Mike whistled low. "That's corporate espionage, man. You could go to jail." Garrett laughed. "Only if I get caught. Besides, Parker should have thought of that before he passed me over for that promotion. This is just karma, baby." Olivia's heart raced. She had to do something. But what could a lowly cleaner do without blowing her cover? As she pushed her cart back to the supply closet, Olivia realized that her undercover mission had become far more crucial than she'd ever imagined. The future of Parker Enterprises might just depend on what she discovered and what she decided to do about it. Friday evening found Olivia, still in her olive disguise, gathering her things from the supply closet, her mind whirling with all she'd learned. She was so distracted that she didn't notice Nathan approaching until he cleared his throat. "Oh," Olivia jumped, nearly dropping her bag. "Mr. Brooks, you startled me." Nathan smiled, that warm, genuine smile that always made Olivia's heart skip a beat. "Sorry about that, and please call me Nathan." "Listen, Olive, I was wondering." He trailed off, suddenly looking uncharacteristically nervous. Olivia raised an eyebrow. "Yes?" Nathan took a deep breath. "Would you like to go see a movie with me tonight? There's this great independent cinema downtown showing classic films. Tonight it's Casablanca." Olivia's heart soared, then immediately plummeted. She'd love nothing more than to go on a date with Nathan. But how could she? She wasn't really Olive. She was Olivia Parker, his boss's daughter and soon-to-be superior. I don't know if that's a good idea," she stammered. Nathan's face fell. "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. I just thought, well, never mind. Have a good weekend, Olive." As he turned to go, Olivia made a split-second decision. "Wait." Nathan looked back, hope flickering in his eyes. "I'd love to go, but there's something you should know." Nathan tilted his head, curious. What's that? Olivia took a deep breath. I'm not exactly who you think I am. I can't explain everything right now, but I promise you'll understand soon. If that's okay with you, I'd still like to go to the movie. For a long moment, Nathan just looked at her, his expression unreadable. Then slowly he smiled. Olive, or whoever you are, I'd be honored to take you to the movies. Air of mystery and all. Relief and excitement flooded through Olivia. Great. I'll meet you there at 8. As Olivia rushed home to change into clothes that were nicer than Olive's usual attire, but still far from Olivia Parker's designer wardrobe, she tried to quiet the voice in her head, telling her this was a bad idea. She was supposed to be undercover, gathering intel on the company, not going on dates with handsome executives. But as she slipped into the darkened cinema and felt Nathan's hand brush against hers, Olivia couldn't bring herself to regret her decision. The movie was magical. Olivia had seen Casablanca before, of course, but never like this. Never in a cozy vintage theater with worn velvet seats and the smell of real butter on the popcorn. And certainly never sitting next to someone who made her pulse race every time he leaned close to whisper a comment about the film. As they walked out into the cool night air after the movie, Nathan turned to her with a soft smile. So mysterious, Olive. What did you think? Olivia beamed. It was wonderful. I've never experienced anything quite like it. Nathan raised an eyebrow. Never been to an old movie theater before? Olivia caught herself. Oh, not one this charming. Usually I just stream movies at home. Nathan nodded, seemingly satisfied with her explanation. Well, I'm glad I could introduce you to the magic of classic cinema. Maybe next time we could check out their noir night? Next time? Olivia's heart skipped a beat. Nathan's smile faltered slightly. If you want to. No pressure. Olivia found herself nodding eagerly. I'd love to. As they strolled down the street, talking about the movie and their favorite scenes, Olivia felt a warmth spreading through her chest. This was so different from the dates she'd been on before. No fancy restaurants, no paparazzi, no expectations. Just two people enjoying each other's company. But as they approached the subway station where they'd agreed to part ways, reality came crashing back. Nathan, Olivia said, stopping short of the entrance. I really like you. Nathan's eyes lit up. I really like you too, Olive. Olivia took a deep breath. But there's something you need to know. I'm not who you think I am. Nathan's brow furrowed. What do you mean? I can't explain everything right now, Olivia said, her heart racing. But I promise you'll understand soon. I don't want to start whatever this is between us with a lie. For a long moment, Nathan just looked at her, his expression unreadable. Then, slowly, he nodded. Okay, I trust you, Olive, or whoever you are. Just promise me one thing, anything, Olivia said, relief flooding through her. When you're ready to tell me the truth, I'll be the first to know. Olivia smiled, reaching out to squeeze his hand. I promise. As she watched Nathan disappear into the subway station, Olivia felt a mix of emotions swirling inside her. Excitement at the connection she felt with Nathan, guilt over her deception, and a growing dread about what would happen when the truth finally came out. Monday morning dawned bright and clear. But Olivia's stomach was in knots as she entered Parker Enterprises. Her father had called late last night, insisting she come in for an important meeting. Her time as Olive was coming to an end. As she stepped off the elevator onto the executive floor, this time using her key card instead of the service entrance, Olivia took a deep breath. She decided to come dressed as herself, figuring there was no point in maintaining her disguise any longer. Her Louboutin heels clicked against the marble floor as she made her way to her father's office. She could feel the stares of employees who'd never seen her before. Whispers following in her wake. Howard's secretary, a woman who'd known Olivia since she was a little girl running around the office, did a double take. Miss Parker, we weren't expecting you today. Olivia managed a weak smile. Hi, Linda. Is my father ready for me? Before Linda could answer, Howard's booming voice came from inside the office. Is that my girl? Come on in, princess. Olivia stepped into the plush office, immediately enveloped in her father's bear hug. There's my graduate, ready for your big day? Olivia's eyebrows shot up. Big day. Howard grinned, guiding her to a seat. That's right, we've got those negotiations with Apex Corp today, remember? And you, my dear, are going to lead them? Olivia's mouth went dry. Today? But Dad, I haven't had time to prepare. I don't know the details of the deal. Howard waved off her concerns. Nonsense. You've been working here for weeks, albeit in an unconventional capacity. He winked. I've been keeping tabs on you, you know, very clever, going undercover like that. You've seen this company from every angle now. You're more than ready for this. Before Olivia could protest further, there was a knock at the door. Come in, Howard called. The door opened and in walked the last person Olivia wanted to see at that moment. Nathan. Nathan stopped short, his eyes widening as he took in Olivia's transformation. Gone was the mousy cleaner in baggy clothes. In her place stood a poised, elegantly dressed young woman who looked every inch the corporate heiress she was. Olive? Nathan's voice was barely above a whisper. Howard looked between them, confusion evident on his face. Olive? Nathan, this is my daughter Olivia. She'll be taking over as commercial director and leading today's negotiations. Nathan's face went through a rapid series of emotions. Shock, hurt, anger, and finally a cool mask of professionalism. I see. It's a pleasure to meet you properly, Miss Parker. Olivia's heart was racing. Nathan, I can explain. But Nathan was already turning to Howard. Sir, the Apex Corp representatives have arrived. They're waiting in the conference room. Howard clapped his hands together. Excellent. Let's not keep them waiting. Coming, Olivia? As they filed out of the office, Olivia caught Nathan's eye one last time. The warmth and affection she'd grown accustomed to seeing there was gone, replaced by a guarded look that made her heart ache. This was it, the moment of truth. Olivia straightened her shoulders, pushing down the guilt and anxiety churning in her stomach. She had a job to do, a company to run, and a room full of people to impress. The conference room fell silent as Olivia entered, all eyes turning to the young woman who was clearly not the seasoned businessman they'd been expecting. Olivia could practically feel the skepticism radiating off the Apex Corp team. Howard cleared his throat. Gentlemen, allow me to introduce my daughter and our new commercial director, Olivia Parker. She'll be leading these negotiations on behalf of Parker Enterprises. Olivia stepped forward, extending her hand to the Apex Corp CEO. It's a pleasure to meet you all. Shall we begin? For the next 3 hours, Olivia was in her element. All those years of shadowing her father, all the lessons learned in business school, and yes, even the insights gained from her time as a cleaner. It all came together in a tour de force performance. She deftly navigated complex financial projections, smoothly countered every objection, and even managed to secure better terms than Parker Enterprises had initially hoped for. Throughout it all, Olivia was acutely aware of Nathan's presence at the other end of the table. He remained professional, offering insights when asked and backing up Olivia's points with hard data. But the easy camaraderie they'd shared was gone, replaced by a cool efficiency that made Olivia's heart ache. As the Apex Corp team filed out, clearly impressed by the young heiress who just outmaneuvered them, Howard beamed with pride. That's my girl. I knew you had it in you. Olivia managed to smile, but her eyes were on the Parker Enterprises team. Garrett, Vanessa, Brittany, all the people who'd belittled and harassed her when she was Olive, were now looking at her with a mix of fear and calculation. She could practically see the wheels turning in their heads as they tried to figure out how to ingratiate themselves with the boss's daughter. Nathan was the last to leave the room. As he passed Olivia, she reached out, touching his arm lightly. Nathan, please, can we talk? For a moment it looked like he might refuse. Then he gave a curt nod. My office. 5 minutes. As Olivia watched him go, she took a deep breath. She'd won the battle with Apex Corp, but she had a feeling the real fight was just beginning. Olivia stood outside Nathan's office, her hand poised to knock. She'd faced down corporate sharks and navigated million-dollar deals, but somehow, this felt more daunting than any of that. Before she could knock, the door swung open. Nathan stood there, his expression unreadable. Come in, Miss Parker. Olivia winced at the formality but entered the office. For a moment, they just stood there, the silence stretching between them. Finally, Olivia spoke. Nathan, I'm so sorry. I never meant to hurt you or deceive you. I wanted to see the company for what it really was, not what people show the boss's daughter. Nathan's jaw clenched. And what did you see, Olivia? A bunch of people you could look down on? Some good entertainment for the poor little rich girl? No, Olivia exclaimed. I saw a company full of people who've forgotten what integrity looks like. People so focused on climbing the corporate ladder that they've lost sight of what really matters. She took a deep breath. But I also saw you. Someone who still believes in doing the right thing, no matter what. Nathan's expression softened slightly. Why didn't you just tell me who you were? Olivia stepped closer. Because for the first time in my life, someone liked me for me. Not for my name or my money or what I could do for them. Just me. For a long moment, Nathan just looked at her. Then slowly, a smile tugged at the corners of his mouth. Well, I have to admit, Olive was pretty special. But I have a feeling Olivia might be even more incredible. Olivia's heart soared. Does this mean you forgive me? Nathan pretended to consider. I don't know, that depends. Does the new commercial director have time in her busy schedule for movie nights with a lowly marketing manager? Olivia grinned, closing the distance between them. I think that can be arranged. As their lips met in a kiss that was long overdue, Olivia felt like her heart might burst with happiness. But she knew their journey was far from over. Breaking away, she took Nathan's hand. Come on, we've got work to do. Together, they walked into the main office area where the entire staff had gathered, clearly expecting some kind of dramatic showdown. Olivia cleared her throat. I'm sure you're all wondering what's going on. The truth is, I've spent the last few weeks working here as a cleaner named Olive. A collective gasp went through the room. Olivia could see the panic on some faces. The wheels turning as people tried to remember if they'd said or done anything incriminating in front of the boss's daughter. I've seen and heard a lot, Olivia continued. Some of it good, a lot of it. But I'm not here to point fingers or name names. I'm here to make changes. She paused, letting her words sink in. From this moment on, we're going to do things differently at Parker Enterprises. We're going to treat everyone, from the CEO to the newest intern, with respect and dignity. We're going to prioritize integrity over profit. And we're going to remember that this company is only as strong as the people who work here. Olivia could see the mix of emotions on the faces before her. Fear, hope, skepticism, relief. She knew she had a long road ahead of her, rebuilding trust and reshaping the company culture. But with Nathan by her side, and the lessons she'd learned as Olive guiding her, she felt ready for the challenge. I'm giving everyone here a chance to be part of this new chapter, she said. But if anyone feels they can't align with our new values, I'll accept your resignation without prejudice. You have 1 month to decide. As the crowd dispersed, buzzing with shocked whispers and speculation, Nathan squeezed Olivia's hand. That was incredible. But are you sure about not firing anyone? Even after how they treated you? Olivia smiled. I learned something important during my time as Olive. People can surprise you. Sometimes they just need to be given the chance to be better. Nathan grinned. Well, Miss Parker, I have a feeling you're going to keep surprising me for a long time to come. Count on it, Mr. Brooks, Olivia replied with a wink. 6 months later, Parker Enterprises had undergone a remarkable transformation. Under Olivia's leadership, with Nathan as her right-hand man, the company had become known for its ethical business practices and employee-first policies. Brittany, Garrett, and a few others had chosen to leave, unwilling or unable to adapt to the new culture. But many had risen to the challenge, discovering a renewed passion for their work, now that they felt valued and respected. As for Olivia and Nathan, their relationship had blossomed both personally and professionally. They made a formidable team at work and a happy couple outside of it. On a beautiful summer day, they stood hand in hand on a beach in the Mediterranean, surrounded by their friends, family, and yes, even some of their employees. As Olivia said, I do, to the man who'd loved her both as Olive and as herself, she couldn't help but marvel at the journey that had brought her here. From undercover cleaner to corporate leader, from lonely heiress to beloved partner, Olivia Parker had found more than she'd ever dreamed of when she'd first stepped into Parker Enterprises with a mop in her hand and hope in her heart. As she and Nathan shared their first kiss as husband and wife, Olivia knew that this was just the beginning of their greatest adventure yet, and she couldn't wait to see where it would take them next.